Hello, Jonathan Jimbo here. Welcome to a tips and tricks video for the current tournament, the Desolation Trials. Now, I know you want to see my runs that are currently up on the leaderboard, and trust me, I will be displaying those, or hopefully even better than that, at the end of the tournament, so just be patient, hang on there. But for now, I'll be sharing my strategy. I see this tournament like a puzzle. I'll be giving you the building blocks and the necessary tools, but it's up to you to be able to put them together and solve the puzzle yourself. So without further ado, let's get into my tips. And for my first tip, understand the scoring system. If you're trying to score big and you don't understand the scoring system, then what the desolation are you doing? The key categories for this tournament are Marksman and Executioner. Marksman are your headshots, Executioner are your chained kills. I've explained these in a lot more detail in a video linked in the description. Linking with tip number 2, plan your routes carefully. Now this is the quintessential tip and is the big secret, so to speak, to scoring well. Why is this so important, you may ask? For 2 reasons. The first reason might be the most obvious, to avoid you faffing around, getting lost, repeating where you've already been. The second reason, on the other hand, is the most important, and that, my friends, is the Executioner bonus. If you want to be scoring highly, you need to be keeping that bonus for as many chained kills as you can. You have around 5 to 10 seconds between kills to keep your combo, but to be on the safe side, I'd advise sticking to around 5. If you can, you want each island to be one long Executioner combo. The way I see it, think of it like a puzzle. How many enemies can you chain together without being forced to wait for more than 5 seconds? In fact, for the mathematicians out there, look up the 7 bridges problem. It's remarkably similar. My final word on this tip, measure twice, cut once. Don't be banging your head against a brick wall trying to score highly, but with the wrong strategy. You'll just be wasting your time. And for tip number 3, slow down to speed up. You might be thinking, what the abyss are you talking about? But hear me out. The arrow select button puts the game into slow motion, and this is critical. Now, before you start jumping out of your seat, this time freeze will not slow the tournament clock. 10 minutes is 10 minutes, there is no way to gain additional time. But the purpose of the time freeze is twofold. The first is it slows the Executioner timer. That means you can use it to plan out your next shots, all while maintaining your Executioner bonus. I recommend using it each time you teleport to a different area so you can see what enemies are around you and what your next moves are. The second use is that it freezes all enemies around you. Not only does that make hit safer, it also makes it easier to hit headshots. Just like the other modes of the game, if you're using the bow, you can use it between each shot. So as soon as you release the arrow, you can hit the arrow select, but make sure not to hit the arrow select while you're drawing the bow, or else it will switch arrows, and this can be a pain in the ass sometimes. From the perspective of the other enemies, you're like Quicksilver. They have absolutely no time to react. And finally, for this tip, linking back to the previous one, it helps you with planning your route. So I recommend starting out slower, use lots of slow time, and then once you've got your route down, work on speeding it up. For tip number 4, special arrows. Do you use them, and when should you use them? Using special arrows will mean that you're able to clear the enemies faster and continue your Executioner route. On the other hand, they'll often be doing yourself out of headshots, and therefore your marksman score will suffer. But unlike Beat the Bar, in this tournament you can spend any remaining time in Cycle 2 to try and make up that difference. Another use for your specials is on bats. These enemies are difficult to headshot, and by doing so you might be taking too long. Instead, if you use specials, you can wipe out a cluster of bats immediately, saving you have to aim at each one individually. And my final tip, watch videos from other players. Some of these top players, such as Big Smith, RB Avenue and Atlas Rise, already have their runs posted. You'll need to look at both YouTube and the Facebook group. But also, it's not just videos for this tournament that are relevant. There's also videos from Beat the Bar Season 3, showing you how to score highly with both weapons. There's runs not just from myself, but from many top players in this game, such as Silver Tongue Devil and Rick Bess. While there are minor differences in the format between Beat the Bar and this tournament, the general idea is displayed very nicely. And I will say, my experience playing Beat the Bar and with both weapons in Season 3 has given me a leg up. And I intend to be coming out with Season 4 Beat the Bar, hopefully a week after the tournament. And what's more, my time spent testing the scoring bars for Desolation has definitely helped me out here in the tournament. And finally, watching runs from the game's previous tournaments such as Pit Runner and 15 Minutes of Fame will help too. That's it for my tips, but I have a couple of things to say before closing out this video. A shout out to Big Smith for beating my score. But just you wait, I'll be coming back to reclaim the throne. And you Silver-tongued Devil, don't get any ideas of a last minute steal. And one last thing, may the RNG be ever in your favour.